Welcome to the Two Steps Ahead podcast, starring Robert Sean McGrew and Raul Ruiz, talking business, strategy, and growth, helping you stay 2 steps ahead. Let's get to work.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Two Steps Ahead podcast. I'm Robert Sean McGrew.
I'm Raul Ruiz.
And it's a bright, sunny day here in Northwest Arkansas, although it's going to get cold.
It is. It's freezing out there.
Look
Look
at
at
a downer. I mean, I'm already taking mine off because it's already getting warm, and this place is vibing today, man. Let's start off. Tell them where we're at, man.
It is. Actually, we're in Bentonville, Arkansas, of course, and we are at Kennedy Coffee. Kennedy Coffee Roasters, right?
That's right.
Kennedy Coffee Roasters. Really good coffee. Highly recommend. Got the Velvet Elvis. So, giving it a shot. It's really good.
I like it very much.
Yay. Blue suede shoes.
It's like actually we got here, we were just talking and chilling out, and then all of a sudden, boom, everybody came in.
That's right.
Because they wanted to be on the podcast, I bet.
Exactly. There's somebody back over here, somebody back over there.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And on the room behind that wall.
That's right.
People, so.
Yeah.
It's all good. Lots of things are always happening, Rose. Since we met last time and recorded, several things have happened. We had some celebrations, right? We had a birthday boy.
Yeah, I turned 15.
Yeah, you act like it too, man.
46 years ago, something like that.
Wait a minute. That's
not that old. Almost, but not quite. Yeah.
We had Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day for everybody out there.
That's right. You're our sweetheart because we appreciate you guys listening, sharing, and liking our podcast and sharing some comments and topics of what you like for us to talk about too.
Absolutely. So. Me and him, we love you.
What is it?
I'm not sure what that is, but okay.
It's a Korean heart.
Okay. Never seen that one before.
I've got teenagers, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Show me that again. Let me see. Okay, there you go, people. First of its kind, right here in this podcast.
On this podcast, anyway.
On this podcast.
But and then we also had President's Day, which I never understood federal holidays. So
it fell on my birthday, so everybody celebrated at the same time.
That's right. He was the president of the day.
That's right.
That's right.
It was.
I don't ever get the federal holidays. Sometimes we observe on a certain day, which is Monday this week, but it's not actually President's Day. And then not all of us get the holiday off. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's just wrong, isn't it? It's a holiday, but not really.
Yeah, it's a kind of a holiday, but for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Not us, but
maybe for you, but not for us.
Hope you were part of that celebration. Maybe you got an extra day from the long weekend of celebrating Valentine's, President's Day, and Raul's birthday. It was all kind of bundled together.
I have to share my story because we always start with stories, right?
That's right.
So my story for this past weekend, which was my birthday weekend, my family and I actually went to Dallas. We spent the weekend in Dallas, and we did something we had never done before. We actually went to
Dallas, bro.
We went to IKEA in Dallas.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Never been to IKEA.
Really?
First time ever.
Wow.
I thought I was going to be bored out of my mind, and I was going to leave and watch a movie. Lo and behold, 8 hours later, I was still there.
8 hours?
I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Did you work? Did they put you to work?
They should have, because I was just sitting there. At the end of the day, I was so tired.
See, the way this works, Raul, is generally when you're somewhere for 8 hours, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
But you were paying them.
I was paying them. I actually spent a lot of money there. But I will be back.
I think it's pretty cool. I haven't been to one in quite a while.
It's incredible.
Did you go to the cafe, of course?
Oh, absolutely.
You had the Swedish meatballs?
Swedish meatballs, yep.
Yeah,
Had the garlic cod, which was incredible.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Just really good food.
Dang, wow. Yeah, I haven't been to IKEA in quite a while. I think the last time we went, there was one up in Kansas City. I wish we'd get one here. That would be awesome.
I think we're getting one in Tulsa. So Tulsa's a couple hours away. So, hey,
that'd be
quick
cool.
drive.
Oh, that's right. They did announce that.
That's
I
right.
saw that announcement.
Which we are going to talk about. Dun, 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 dun.
Tulsa? No. I'm kidding. Our topic today. Let's wait a second for that. Okay. But speaking of Tulsa and speaking of IKEA, I think there's a future recording going to be happening. Maybe not for 8 hours, but
yeah, no, not 8 hours. Maybe IKEA in Tulsa, right?
That's right. Yeah, let's put that on the list. I'm just marking it here to hold us accountable and be responsible for what we're saying.
Yeah, hold us accountable because we're not accountable.
Well, for coffee, we can be responsible and have
absolutely.
Coffee, so,
yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
But other things that have been going on too. There's been a lot of activity, and this past week, something really exciting that I'm personally excited about. I was reached out, Capital Factory, if you're familiar with them, they're based out of Austin, Texas. They're one of the largest and first venture firms in the US, and they do all kinds of things. And you talk about if you have a business, a startup that is scalable and major, they do space stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday they had a space thing down in Austin, and they're going to be part of the South by Southwest that's
Nice.
coming up as well. And but you're putting in what they're calling Station NWA, and that's going to be right here in Bentonville, and it's going to be for founders, investors, community, entrepreneurs, mentors. I can go on, but there's all kinds of stuff. That was really cool, and I appreciate that. Will, shout out to you for the invitation. Appreciate that. I'll be looking for that's coming up for more activities and more participation opportunities for you. So
Very cool.
Keep an eye on that. Yeah, very cool. Weather-wise, we've been really good this week. We're getting ready to go into cold. I know everybody's been complaining about the stupid groundhog. Why does he still have a job?
I don't know.
If I was wrong as much as he's wrong, and everybody keeps saying, but why did he say 6 more weeks of winter?
I will say, with all the skunks that we have out there in the road right now, maybe it should be a skunk. That's all I'm saying. Maybe it should be a skunk telling us if there's going to be winter or not.
I do all the memes like we talked about last time about people stepping up to maybe replace them. The skunk, maybe the squirrel, the rabbit, all these different things. But in fairness, and this happens, it's funny and it's fun to talk about the stupid groundhog, but we're actually getting cold starting tonight. And almost for a week. And so we'll have this bout of cold weather, and then spring will come around the corner.
Back to 70s again, yeah.
That's right. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. Yeah. It's February. What do you expect?
But the one thing that's constant with all this is in the preparation that we talked about before, and the weather changes and adapting to change. Retail. You just talked about IKEA and what it did to you for 8 hours.
That's hard to do in a furniture place. 8 hours. I enjoyed it though. I will go back. I will go back.
The retail itself is one thing that's been pretty constant. But they have to adapt and they have to change. They have to evolve in order to keep the customers coming back and doing things. We're in the land of the big W here, right? And everybody knows Walmart, and Walmart has everything and anything you need, and you can get it at home, in your home. You can drive up and get it, put it in your trunk. You can go in the stores. You can do all this stuff, and they've been really at the top of that chain. And then we were just talking about it a while ago. They hit their $1 trillion valuation.
That's right.
What?
Market cap, $1 trillion.
That is wow. I mean,
mind blowing.
Like I can say one, but trillion. But even in the face of that's like huge. And of course, Walmart also got a new CEO recently. Retirement, Doug and John stepping into the CEO role, and then that market cap is like all happening for Walmart immediately. But then just a couple of days ago, there's an announcement that Fortune 1 is changing, and Walmart's been at that helm for so long, and they're not going to be Fortune 1 anymore. Enter the other behemoth giant, Amazon. Amazon is now going to be the #1 Fortune company in the world.
Yep.
And speaking of that, we've even gotten some taste of that here recently, just this week.
Yeah. Whole Foods
opened up here in Rogers, Arkansas. I haven't gotten over there yet. I drove by the other day, and it was just packed. Everybody was just there.
Yeah.
And that's typical around here anyway. Anything that's brand new,
everybody rushes there. Yeah.
You think this place is brand new, as packed as it is, but it's all good. But so let's talk about how retail continues to move forward, evolve, and change. Like we talked about the two biggest ones right now, and then you talk about another one that is international one with IKEA. But let's talk about retail.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that the retail is doing and looking at right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you talk about retail, it's fun for me, right? I really enjoy talking about retail because it's ever evolving. It's always changing. It's always adapting. It's always trying to bring that customer back, right? To come back to the store, to come back to the website, to go ahead and get those sales. So as you look at retail and what it's evolved to, it's all digital, technology driven. A large part of it is, right? But ultimately, we all still go to the store. My example of going to IKEA, I spent 8 hours at IKEA. Never, ever did I think that I was going to spend 8 hours at a store. But if a store can do that to me, it can do that to anybody.
Did you take a nap by chance? Because they got beds. So did you take a nap?
Should I be honest? Yes, I did take a nap.
Awesome.
There was an actual area there that had outdoor furniture. I took a quick nap. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, it's okay. I'm all right with that, bro.
It was a good nap too.
Did you bring this at home?
I did not. I thought about it though because it was really comfortable. But I will say that retailers are really adapting to the purchasing power of individuals and how they spend their money, like I said, online or at the store. And you have Walmart who is moving into that digital path, and then you have Amazon who is moving into the brick and mortar path.
Yeah.
So they're both crossing sides. They're at the crossroads where they're making decisions on the opposite side. So they're learning as they go. And I think Amazon has a pretty good footprint when it comes to digital. Amazon is the behemoth when it comes to the digital footprint, but they're expanding with Whole Foods. They're expanding with brick and mortar locations across the U.S.
Right.
So competition is stiff. It is really stiff.
Speaking of competition, and speaking of retail, speaking of Texas, another big one that people don't think about from a retail standpoint, and they don't consider themselves retail completely either, but Buc-ee's.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
They have converged many different paths. You got gas, which brings people in, and so the convenience store always brings people in to buy stuff. And in that stuff, they've expanded so much. They've gone from groceries to clothing to outdoor equipment and patio stuff as well. And their footprint is really large. If you've never been to one, and I know a lot of people haven't, we don't have one here locally yet. The closest one, Springfield, Missouri, and then there's going to be one down there close to Little Rock, Texarkana. But regardless, for those that like, I'm a big Love's guy. I like stopping at Love's gas stations when I travel, and they're nice and they've got a lot of things, but it's nothing compared to what like a Buc-ee's does. But as you mentioned, though, adapting to and evolving to what the customer wants and needs. So the customers are telling them they like what they see, and it's great because even especially with kids, it's a nice little rest stop.
Oh, it is.
It's not just okay, fill up a gas, grab your drink, let's go. Because a lot of us do that, and you can do that there if you want, but you can also chill out and have a fresh brisket on board.
Oh yeah, yeah. Coming up.
Oh, that's that. That's this. Yes, absolutely. You can stick around and look up for different things from food to clothes, and one of the biggest things that they're known for is their bathrooms. I know people are like, "What are you talking about? Why are you talking
Cleanest
about
bathrooms in the world, I would say.
and it's got the most, right?
Yep.
A lot of gas stations have, I don't know, 4 or 5 stalls maybe, and sometimes you got to wait. But here they've got so many. I don't even know how many, 20 plus at least, and they're constantly cleaning. So there's somebody there constantly cleaning as people are coming in and out, and they still get lines to go in there, but people go there because it's a place where you can get a clean restroom. You get your gas, and it's usually pretty cheap, and then you can get your food, and they have that retailtainment, which I know Walmart was one of the ones that kind of coined that phrase a long time ago, but everybody's gotten into it. And I would argue that IKEA really strung you in on the retailtainment portion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had the privilege of stopping by a Buc-ee's this past weekend as well. And I'll tell you, their private label is incredible. It is a cult following when it comes to buying shirts and hats and anything you can think of, right? It's like a theme park environment. It really is. There's hundreds of cars in front, there's hundreds of cars parked, and there's almost thousands of people inside of it.
Right.
It's incredible. And that's what a brand becomes when you again reel those people in, right?
That's right.
When you have what people want and need, people will show up. And that's what they've taken advantage of.
What's one constant thing that you can see that's threaded through all those different companies that we've been talking about and beyond that?
Mhm.
Is customer loyalty, but that doesn't come without listening. And we've talked about listening before. You've got to listen to what your customers want and need, perceive it, fulfill it so that they're satisfied, and or anticipate something that they didn't know they needed. I didn't know that I needed a brisket sandwich from Buc-ee's.
Oh, you definitely need one. They're good.
No,
They
that's
are
what I'm saying.
so
I
good.
didn't know I needed it, but now I not have one when I go there.
Exactly. Yep. I totally concur with that because every time I go, I have to have a brisket sandwich, and it's got to be the 2XL. I don't know if you've had that one, but it's a little pricey, but you pay for good stuff, right? You're willing to pay for it.
That's right.
And that's what brings that customer back again and again.
Just like the Swedish meatballs at IKEA.
Just like the Swedish meatballs. That's right.
And that patio furniture, I bet he'll be back again there.
Absolutely. Yep. Going along those lines, I actually also stopped by an HEB.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Love
goodness. HEBs are incredible.
I wish we could get one up here. They're awesome. But
They
that is
are.
another example of evolving and listening to customers. Yeah, yeah. If you ever get a chance, I know that they're starting to spread out of Texas a little bit, but mostly in Texas itself. That's where they're based in San Antonio. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, and I love their deli.
Oh yeah, it's
Ooh,
incredible.
fresh
Their deli's
tacos,
awesome.
fresh tortillas, fresh everything's fresh. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, again, it's customer service driven, right? It's all about the customer, and I don't think they have a huge presence when it comes to like customer pickup, customer delivery, and stuff like that. But just their store is so well stocked. You can find anything and everything in that store, and I think it's as big as a super center. But all of it is food driven, and some little small appliances that you need in the house. But it's so well stocked.
But I think that's the key is understanding and being what the customer wants and needs. A lot of retail, even the big ones, have done that with delivery, with membership base. I have some memberships myself, and I like them and I maintain them because of the benefits that it brings with them. Some of them bring me like streaming benefits of some digital content online. Some of it's including my free shipping. I don't have to pay additional shipping on that, or free delivery to my house. Those kinds of perks are things that the customer likes and wants. But at the same time, let's talk about something that a lot of people don't talk about, and that's like the return process, because that's quickly changing. It evolved quite a bit, and I think personally it got out of hand.
Oh, it did.
To where you could return anything and everything at any time, and a lot of people took advantage of that. And retail has finally figured out, you know what, that's not profitable. It's costing us more, and some of these customers, not all, but some are playing with us. And so now you're seeing more restrictions as far as how, when, and what you can actually return.
Yeah, I think that was a product of the environment just simply because of the pandemic a few years ago. That they were just trying to make it easier for everybody to return something instead of having to go somewhere to go return it. So that opened up the floodgates to FedEx, UPS, and all these companies just picking up delivery. It was a big cycle, and companies were losing money. Hey, companies are in it to make money. If you have a business, you're in it to make money. Ultimately, that's your bottom goal, return on investment. So yeah, it's gotten a little bit more strict, but it had to become. Everybody was taking advantage of it.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, if you and I went out and let's say that we're selling these, we got a house full of them,
Yeah.
and then everybody started returning them. You're costing yourself as far as space and time. So retailers with their warehouses, workers concentrating only on returns,
Yep.
the process, the data, all that stuff. It all adds up, and like you said, it's a cost. And you could argue that for a time there was a necessity of doing things different, but that's part of that change and evolving that we're talking about. You have to adapt with the times. We're not in a pandemic anymore. We're not in those times anymore. But now, even on a different scale, in a different sense, now you've got other geopolitical influences, tariffs. I'll just stop there. We won't go any further in that. But that also affects things, right? And how you receive, how you send, how you do that. And so if you're a retailer or in business, you have to constantly be watching and understanding what makes sense. I think that's probably the biggest point that we're making here. You talked about Walmart getting more into the digital space and Amazon getting more in brick and mortar. That's what made sense for both of them to compete against each other.
Right.
And now look what happens. Now they're fighting for who's number one in Fortune 1. Not that's the thing for a lot of people, or that's their goal necessarily, but still, Bucky's compared to other gas stations, because they're still considered a convenience store, although they're more of a retail store now.
Really are.
But they're branching more and more in that way. But you have to constantly be watching, understanding, and listening to what people truly want.
Yeah.
Like the
Good
Spice
point.
Girls, they were onto something. Tell me what you want, what you really want.
Exactly.
I wanna.
So I'm going to pivot a little bit, right? I want to have this conversation
Away from the
because
Spice Girls?
away from the Spice Girls, yes. I've had this conversation in the past with other individuals, right? Retail comes in cycles, right? And we've lived through Montgomery Wards, Woolworths, we lived through Zare, we lived
Good
through
memories.
all these companies, Sears, right? Remember Sears? Hasn't
Kmart.
been that long. Kmart. They all competed against each other at certain points, and somebody won and somebody lost, and then somebody else came along, and then somebody else came along, and it's just ever evolving, going back to the initial point. So I'm curious, looking at the economic environment, looking at the retail environment,
Yeah.
and looking at the two competitors, which is Walmart and Amazon, who's coming up? Who, in your opinion, can not, let's say, overtake, because it takes time, right?
Well, it takes a
You
lot of
have
time.
to build something, and
Yeah.
it takes 30, 40, 50 years sometimes. Who do you see being a prime competitor in that marketplace?
That's a tough spot. The obvious kind of answer would be Target, and they've been working on stuff for quite a while. And matter of fact, there's even has been some talks and circles and stuff that even Amazon is looking at acquiring them and then having a complete brick and mortar system against their competitor Walmart. Um, they've been Target's had some tough times and they've been up and down, but they've done a lot of good things, and they're one that does listen quite a bit and adapt. And they're not lower tier, they're not high tier, they're in between and trying to figure that out. But that's the one that comes to mind. I don't know if that's the one you were thinking.
It's hard for me to even think of someone, because if you think about it, like, you have stores like J.C. Penney that are going under. You have other stores that have gone under, have filed for bankruptcy because of the retail environment, how difficult and tough it is, right? But we've known that throughout the last 150 years, there's always been a top retailer or two that compete, and then it goes into the next cycle, and then other retailers compete, and then it goes to the next cycle. And who knows what that looks like going forward, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who has an opinion, and I want to hear your opinions. I want to see your opinions down below. Comment, because I'm curious. There's people out there that know that there's retailers that are coming up and coming. Who those are, we want to know. Share that with us.
There's a lot of niche type retailers that are starting to pop up a little bit more. And I think they're taking more of the model that Bucky's takes, right? And so I think some people are starting to realize we can't be anything and everything. And you probably shouldn't. That's probably not a good model to try to go after. But if you really lean into something specific, then you can build upon that. And that's what Bucky's did. They started off like a convenience store with a certain amount of things, and then they've just added to it as they've gone along, as they've seen their customers respond into it. And HEB was another good example of that. I grew up in Texas, and the staple, actually, I didn't even know what a Walmart was until I moved to Northwest Arkansas. And HEB was the grocery store, along with competitors like Kroger's and Albertsons and Menards and everything across the Food Lion, all those across the nation. But HEB really concentrated on food, and that was their niche. And then they started growing to compete against a Kmart, a Walmart, a Target, and started adding general merchandise. But their core is still solid today. You can go in there, like you said, and you find the food. It's fresh, it's great, it's cheap. And Texas doesn't have any food taxes. It's awesome. Wish we get that here. But again, it was sticking to their core. So niche retailers are onto something, and if you can get that niche down and continue to progress it forward, you're going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting to me, and curiosity takes precedent for sure, because I love talking about the retail aspect of it and how it's evolved. And you have all these companies going into private label and making their own private label, their own private products, and making a ton of money out of it and growing it and being very competitive with the major name brands.
And what's also interesting there is major name brands used to be against that kind of stuff, right? Because you were cutting into their profits.
Yeah.
But they got smart, and they also started learning and evolving themselves and understanding that when a retailer or somebody came to you with a private label, that you could produce the same product and or like product and not have to worry about the packaging and design and all, because that retailer or operator will take care of it.
Co-packaging.
But now you're producing still more in mass.
Yeah.
Then it bodes well for everybody, and everybody gets a piece of the pie. And I want to touch on that for a second. This is where a lot of people don't understand it, especially in the world of entrepreneurs that we live in, and even from a family standpoint, sometimes, right? We think that if we're not the best or we're not the one that everybody wants, then we're not doing what we need to be. Or if you and I are doing the same thing, then we've got to compete each other, and we can't share anything, we can't share secrets, we can't share contacts. And more people in the entrepreneur world are starting to realize that it's not about keeping it closed, it's about understanding and sharing. That's why I love stepping into a lot of the circles that we go to, the meetups, the coffees, the accelerators, because we're sharing ideas. We're helping each other understand what we do. We each take a piece of it, and we go and we support each other, and we can have the exact same thing in some way, but we can both survive.
I think it goes back to the point that, are there really new ideas out there? Are there really new ideas, or is there growth within that idea and additions to make it better, to grow it, to move on from what it was down here, get it up here, and even higher than that?
You make a great point. And when I coach entrepreneurs, startups particularly, that's one of the things that I lean into really heavy. So you've got this idea of creating a new cup. Great. What makes you different from that cup that he already has, or a different cup somebody else has, one that you're holding? If you can't explain that, if you don't understand it yourself, then you're not going to move it forward. And just like anything else, speaking of cups, we can find cups all over the place.
That's right.
Whether it's a plastic cup or paper cup or a ceramic mug or whatever, you have choices out there. So why would I buy yours? What makes yours so different? If you have something meaningful or something you're really trying to solve for, then that's where people can lean into. That's where investors will also look and say, you know what, that makes sense. I understand what you're doing. Not all the time. Sometimes those stories and goals are more closer to you yourself, but you got to be able to show everybody else. You have to be able to explain it to people, and people buy into that. Why do people go to Starbucks?
Love the coffee.
Exactly. That's the point. But you can also go to Kennedy Coffee where we're at.
Yeah.
But why did we come here? We like the environment, right?
Yeah.
And so, same thing, but different places. Yeah. And you've got to understand what it is that draws you there. So if you and I were to go open a coffee shop tomorrow, how are we going to set ourselves different? And if we can't explain that,
Yeah, because it's still coffee.
That's
it's
right.
still coffee, no matter what it
still
is.
Coffee, place, still cup. We didn't come here because we wanted this cup, right? And that's one of the things we all have to understand and lean into, no matter what you're doing. And retailers, particularly operators and business owners, you need to lean into your why. What is it you're going after? Not the money. People get caught up on that so much. I call it the dangling carrot effect. Everybody chases the money. The money's going to come, but if you can't explain why, if I open up a coffee shop and say, hey, come see us, just because we're on the road, Robert, no.
Exactly.
You can go somewhere else.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation today. We did. I did.
And the coffee.
Great coffee. Yeah, thank you. So remember, Kennedy Coffee in Bentonville, Arkansas. Check it out. And follow us and comment as well, okay?
Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate you. And if we are meaningful to you, as always, share with somebody else. Give us some topics you want to talk about. We're preparing and moving and trying to change this podcast this year. And one, we've seen that we've been a little bit more constant now, and hopefully the quality is increasing. The sound quality is increasing starting now, and we'll continue to improve this year because just like we were talking about, we have to evolve. We have to change. We have to adapt. And so we're trying to do the same thing. But we truly appreciate you being here with us, and we'll hope you'll join us on the next edition, the next episode of the Two Steps Ahead podcast.
Talk to you soon.